I never thought I'd stand over my father's grave, whispering the truth he buried deeper than his own coffin. But there I was, in the rain-slicked cemetery outside Boston, the kind of place where old money rots quietly under marble headstones. And I realized the swap wasn't revenge, it was resurrection. My name's Peyton, and the body I stole wasn't just flesh, it was the key to unraveling the lie that turned me into a ghost while they feasted on the living. It started with a phone call from a lawyer I'd never met, his voice crackling like static over a bad connection from some offshore clinic. Mr. Hargrove, Peyton Hargrove, your grandmother's will is being read tomorrow. And there's complications. Complications. That's what they call it when your blood turns on you for 38 million reasons. But by then, I wasn't Peyton anymore. Not in the mirror.
Anyway.
The rain hammered down like it was trying to wash away the sins of the Hargrove name. But sins like ours, they stick like tar on the soul. I was 6 when they left me on the steps of that crumbling foster home in Southie, Boston's underbelly where dreams go to drown in the harbor. Mom, Elena, with her sharp cheekbones and sharper tongue, had whispered, "It's for the best, baby. We'll come back." Dad, Victor Hargrove, the silver-tongued real estate shark who'd clawed his way from nothing to corner offices in Back Bay, nodded like it was just another closing deal. They drove off in that cherry-red Cadillac, taillights fading into the fog, and I sat there clutching a teddy bear with one eye missing, wondering if best meant forgetting your kid for a fresh start in Miami. Turns out,
it did.
The foster system chewed me up like yesterday's news. Bounced from home to home. I learned quick. Trust is a luxury for people with last names that open doors. By 12, I was running with a crew lifting hubcaps off tourist rentals.
Just to eat.
School? A joke. I dropped out at 15. Lied my way into a warehouse gig stacking crates for minimum wage, dreaming of the day I'd spit in the eye of every suit who looked through me like I was invisible. But the real gut punch came later, when I was 22, fresh out of a botched community college stint in accounting. Ironic,
right?
I tracked them down. Not hard in the age of Google and public records. Victor had pivoted to venture capital, schmoozing tech bros in Silicon Valley knockoffs sprouting up in Cambridge. Elena ran a boutique PR firm, peddling influencers like cheap candy. They had a new life. A new kid, my half-sister, Lila. All blonde curls and private school uniforms. No room for the original model. I showed up at their glass-walled McMansion in Newton, heart pounding like a jackhammer, a 6-pack of cheap beer as my white flag. Peyton, Elena gasped, her martini glass slipping just a fraction. Victor's eyes narrowed, calculating the liability before he even said hello. They let me in, fed me steak and small talk about how far we've come. But the next morning, I woke to sirens. Cops swarming the driveway, cuffs snapping on my wrists. Embezzlement, they said. From Victor's firm. We have the paper trail. Paper trail. Forged checks in my handwriting, my old handwriting, from those foster home forgeries I'd done as a dumb kid. Emails from an account with my name, routing funds to offshore shells. Victor's testimony sealed it. He must have resented us for leaving. This is payback. The jury bought it in 2 hours. 5 years in Walpole State Prison. The kind of hell where tattoos tell your story before you open your mouth. I did the time for their dirty laundry. Victor's side hustle skimming investor cash to fund Elena's lifestyle. They pinned it on the disposable son, the one they'd already thrown away. Out at 27. Parole scraping by on a janitor's wage in Dorchester. I rebuilt. Quietly.
Got my Jeep.
Then a night class in cybersecurity. Irony's a bitch.
Huh.
Hacked freelance gigs under the table. Enough to rent a walk-up with peeling wallpaper and a view of the T-tracks rumbling like my rage. That's when Grandma Hargrove entered the picture.
Victoria Hargrove.
The steel-spined widow who'd built the family fortune on textile mills turned luxury real estate trusts. She found me through a PI, said she'd been watching since the abandonment, waiting for me to prove worthy. We met in a diner off Route 1. Her pearls clacking like rosary beads as she slid an envelope across the formica. You're the only Hargrove with spine.
Boy.
The rest are vultures. She didn't know the half of it. Over black coffee and corned beef hash, she spilled the family poison. Victor's father, her husband, had gambled the empire into near ruin in the 80s. She'd clawed it back, but not without cutting throats. Your parents, she rasped. Eyes like chipped ice. They think blood buys loyalty. It doesn't. She set up a trust, $38 million, locked until her death. With strings. Me as beneficiary. Provided I reclaimed the name without apology. Victor and Elena? Cut out cold. Unless they groveled. Victoria lasted 2 more years. Chain-smoking merits in her Beacon Hill brownstone. Schooling me in the art of the long con. Revenge isn't a sprint, Peyton. It's a marathon with landmines. When she flatlined, heart attack at 89. Alone with her regrets, the calls started. First from the lawyer. Harlan Voss. All Ivy League polish. The readings at the estate. Family only. Then. The vultures circled. Victor's email. Son. Let's put the past behind us. For Victoria's sake. Elena's voicemail. Syrup sweet. We've missed you.
Pay.
Lila wants to meet her big brother. Missed me? After framing me for their felony? I laughed until my ribs ached, staring at the cracked ceiling of my apartment. But laughter dies quick when opportunity knocks. It came in the form of a dark web whisper, a contact from my hacking days. A ghost named Echo. Heard about the inheritance. You want real payback? There's a clinic in Zurich. Neural mapping tech. Off books. Swap consciousness with anyone.
Permanent.
If you pay. Body swapping.
Stiffy bullshit.
Right? Except it wasn't. Echo sent files, DARPA black budget prototypes. Leaked after a whistleblower's accident. Map your brain. Upload to a host. Erase the original. One-way ticket to someone else's skin. Cost? $2 million. Wired anonymously. I had the skills to siphon it from Victor's slush funds. Poetic.
Yeah.
The risk? If it glitched, you're a vegetable in a jar. But 5 years in a cage teaches you, better a ghost in the machine than a pawn on their board. I flew coach to Geneva. Economy class paranoia eating at me. The clinic was a nondescript chalet in the Alps. All white coats and humming servers.
Dr.
Lena Krauss, a defrocked neuroscientist with eyes like a hawk's, explained it over schnapps. We map synaptic patterns. Transfer via quantum entanglement, crude term, but effective. The host wakes as you overwrite them.
No trace.
The target? Victor. I'd hacked his schedule. Golf retreat in the Bernese Oberland.
Solo.
Easy mark. The procedure was a blur. For drip of something chemical tasting. Electrodes spidering my scalp. The hum building to a whine like feedback in a stadium amp. Then. Blackout. I woke gasping. Not in a recovery room, but a four-poster bed in a suite overlooking snow-capped peaks. Hands stronger. Veined. A Rolex heavy on the wrist. Mirror. Victor's face staring back. Salt and pepper hair. That smug jawline I'd hated since childhood. Holy shit, I muttered. And the voice was his baritone, commanding boardrooms. Peyton Hargrove was dead. Victor Hargrove was me. First test, breakfast. Room service brought eggs Benedict. I devoured it like a man starved. Which I was. Echo's cleanup crew handled the original body, doped and dumped in a Vienna flophouse.
Labeled a kanky ot. No headlines.
Back stateside on Victor's Gulfstream. I played the part. Emails to Elena. Business as usual. Darling. See you at the reading. Calls to partners. Aggressive buys on that RAT. Double down. Inside. I seethed. Every mirror was a reminder. This skin owed me blood. The days blurred into a tense masquerade. Victor's life was a gilded cage, penthouse overlooking the Charles River. Gym sessions with a trainer who called me Vic, lunches with senators greasing palms for zoning variances. Lila, my half-sister, was 17 now, all awkward limbs and eye rolls. Texting from Andover Prep.
Dad.
You're being weird. More than usual. I ruffled her hair. God. It felt wrong. Paternal instinct clashing with my intruder status, and muttered. Just tired. Kiddo. Elena suspected nothing. Her kisses lingered too long. Wine-fueled and desperate. You've been distant since Switzerland. Everything okay? I smiled Victor's smile. Perfect. Couldn't be better. But I was mining dynamite. Late nights in his home office, leather chairs and mahogany panels, I dug through encrypted drives. The frame job, confessions in code, transfers to my old accounts rerouted through proxies. Victor's notes, Peyton viable scapegoat, emotional leverage from abandonment. Elena's emails he'll fold. Always did. And deeper, Grandma's secret. Victoria hadn't just watched me. She'd bankrolled my prison commissary. Anonymous letters urging endure. Reclaim. But Victor knew. He'd hacked her PI. Planted doubts. The real bomb? Lila wasn't Elena's fresh start. She was mine, conceived during a drunken reconciliation weekend before the abandonment. Victor's sperm donor? Anonymous clinic. But records showed Elena's affair with a Hargrove cousin. Blood test confirmed, Lila was my full sister. Hidden to keep the family pure for the inheritance game. Rage boiled. But I played long. Controversial calls started small. I accidentally leaked Victor's skimmed funds to a SEC tip line anonymous. Of course. Watched from afar as audits hit his firm, partners scattering like roaches. Elena cornered me one night, silk robe slipping off a shoulder. Vic. The feds? What's happening? I pulled her close, Victor's hands on her waist, and whispered, Karma. Love. For all the ghosts we left behind. She laughed it off, but her eyes flickered, guilt, or fear. The reading loomed, Victoria's estate in Marblehead, a sprawling Victorian on the bluff, waves gnashing below like hungry dogs. Guests, cousins I'd never met, lawyers in seersucker, and the vultures, Victor, me, Elena, Lila. I arrived in Victor's Bentley, parking beside Elena's Audi, her face a mask of Botox and hope. This is it.
Vic.
38 mil. We deserve it after everything. Everything.
Yeah.
Inside. The air hung heavy with beeswax polish and old money. Harlan Voss, spectacles perched like a judge's gavel, gathered us in the library, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves, a crystal decanter sweating on the sideboard. Lila fidgeted with her phone. Elena sipped sherry, eyes darting to me. Voss cleared his throat. Victoria's will is ironclad. Primary beneficiary, Peyton Alexander Hargrove. Provided he appears in person to claim. Silence. Thick as fog off the harbor. Elena's glass tinkled against her teeth. Peyton?
That
boy? After what he did? Voss nodded. Unflinching. Her words. The abandoned heir. Unbowed. If he forfeits, funds revert to charity, Boston Children's, specifically. I watched them fracture. Victor's friends, my cousins, muttered about ungrateful trash. Elena turned to me. Victor's wife pleading with her husband. Vic, we have to contest. He's a felon. For God's sake. I felt it then, the power. Electric. But the hook was set, now. The real. That's when I decided to burn it all. Controversial? Hell. It was scorched earth. I'd prepped the twist. Voss's folder held not just the will, but my evidence dump, USB drives with Victor's forgeries, Elena's affair logs, the frame job blueprint. But I needed the stage. As Voss droned on contingencies, I stood, Victor Hargrove rising like Lazarus, and crossed to the podium by the French doors. Ladies and gentlemen, I said, voice steady. There's been a change in the program. Eyes on me. Lila's wide. Elena's narrowing. I tapped the microphone. Feedback whining like a banshee. Peyton isn't coming. Because Peyton is already here. Gasps rippled.
Elena Lauged. Brilla Beak.
What the hell? I smiled, slow and savage. Think about it, Mother. The golf trip. The headaches you mentioned. The way I've been. Off. I pulled a vial from my pocket, Dr. Krause's neural scanner. A slim black tube. Scan the brain. Map the soul. Victor's in a ditch in Austria. I'm driving now. Chaos erupted. Voss fumbled for his phone. Cousins bolted for doors. Elena lunged, nails raking my Victor's cheek. You monster. What did you do? Blood welled. Hot and real. But no gore in this tale, just the raw slice of truth. Lila screamed, Dad? Peyton? I held up the drives. Read them. All of it. The abandonment? A setup to erase me. The frame? To bury me. Lila, your sister. Not your half. And the money? Grandma knew. She bet on the survivor. Cops swarmed an hour later. My anonymous tip. Timed to the minute. Elena spat venom as they cuffed her. You were nothing without us. But in Victor's eyes, my eyes now, I saw the mirror, hollow, haunted. Voss nodded as they hauled them away. The will stands. You're Peyton Hargrove. Legally. Anyway.
But the twist?
It hit like a rogue wave. In the holding cell footage, hacked later, Elena confessed. Sobbing. We didn't frame him. He did it himself. For the insurance. Victor caught him skimming, but Peyton twisted it, planted the evidence to look like us.
What?
My hands shook. Victor's Rolex ticking like a bomb. The files I'd found? Forgeries on forgeries. Grandma's PI reports. Buried deep. I'd blacked out drunk that weekend. Signed the checks in a haze. Rage-fueled at their rejection. Victor covered for me. Took the fall silently. Let me rot to toughen the air. The abandonment? to force independence, per grandma's orders. Elena's affair? A lie to test loyalty. I'd swapped into a lie. Victor wasn't the villain. He was the sacrificial lamb, raising Lila as his to shield me from the truth. The money? Grandma's final con. To draw us all out, expose the fractures. I took the stage.
All right.
But the real freeze?
Meaning?
Staring at the will's codicil. To Peyton, forgive. Or forfeit. Do I keep the skin? Cash the check. Or end it swap back? If possible. And face the cage again? 38 million buys a lot of therapy. Or a one-way ticket to nowhere. But as the sun dipped over the bluff, waves mocking my mirrored reflection, I wondered, who's the monster now? The abandoned son? Or the ghost wearing his father's face? The aftermath crashed harder than the Marblehead surf. I drove Victor's Bentley back to the penthouse, headlights cutting fog like a scalpel, my mind a whirlwind of what-ifs and what-the-fucks.
Lila rode shotgun.
Silent as a tomb, her phone shattered on the floorboard from when she'd hurled it at the library wall. "You're not Dad," she whispered finally, voice cracking like thin ice. "But you're not. You either." I gripped the wheel, knuckles white, Victor's knuckles, calloused from handshakes that built empires. I'm the version that survived.
Kid.
That's all any of us are. We pulled into the garage, the beep of the opener echoing like a judge's gavel. Upstairs, the place reeked of Elena's Chanel No. 5. Lingering like a bad memory. Lila vanished into her room, spare.
Now.
With posters of indie bands peeling at the edges, slamming the door with a finality that twisted something paternal in my gut. I poured Victor's top-shelf scotch.
Neat.
And sank into his armchair, the leather creaking under unfamiliar weight. The city sprawled below, lights twinkling like distant gunfire. Boston at night. Beautiful. Brutal. Indifferent. Sleep? A joke. Dreams splice my life with his foster bunk beds morphing into boardroom battles, Elena's abandonment kiss blurring with Victor's goodbye to investors. Woke sweating. The vial from Krauss clutched like a talisman. Could I reverse it? Echo's dark web drop had hinted at a remap, but risky 50-50 odds of frying both brains. And for what? To crawl back into Peyton's scrawny frame. Jobless and scarred?
Or stay.
Play tycoon? Let the money wash the sins? Morning brought Harlan Voss to the door. Briefcase in hand, face etched like old oak. Mr. Hargrove, Peyton, if I may. The arrest stick, Elena's lawyered up. Victor's.
Well.
The body's en route for autopsy. Official cause, overdose. But we both know. He slid papers across the coffee table, transfer docs, NDAs. The 38 mil wired to a Cayman trust in my, Peyton's name. Victoria anticipated drama. The codicil, forgive the players, claim the prize. Or burn it all.
His eyes.
Sharp behind bifocals. Pinned me. What'll it be? I signed, ink bleeding like guilt. Controversial? Keeping the cash felt like blood money. But letting it vaporize to charity? That was spite. Not justice. Voss lingered, sipping coffee black as his suit. One more thing. Your grandmother left a letter. He handed over a sealed envelope. Wax seal cracked like fragile bone. I waited till he left, then tore it open. Victoria's script. Spidery but fierce. Peyton, my shadowed grandson. You think abandonment broke you? It forged you. Victor and Elena? Pawns in my game. Yes. but loving ones. The frame? You're doing. Blacked out on bourbon and betrayal, I covered it. Let you serve time to atone. Lila's parentage? A red herring. She's Victor's.
Pure.
The swap? I knew you'd find it. Echo was my plant. The clinic my investment. This body? A test. Wear it. Learn its weight. Forgive. Or become the monster you hunt. The money's yours. But so is the choice. Rebuild the name. Or raise it. Either way, you're Hargrove. Don't waste it on ghosts. Victoria. The room spun. She'd orchestrated the whole damn circus, Grandma as puppet master, pulling strings from her deathbed. Rage surged, hot and holy, but laced with awe. The old bat had played God, and I danced right into her script. Lila emerged at noon, eyes puffy, demanding answers. We sat on the balcony, harbor breeze whipping her hair, and I spilled it all, minus the swap gore. The abandonment, a tough love edict from Victoria to toughen the air. The frame, my drunken fuck-up, buried to protect the brand. Elena's arrest? For perjury in the trial, lying under oath to seal my conviction. Victor's death. Collateral in my revenge fever dream. So Dad's really gone, she choked, tears carving tracks down freckled cheeks. I pulled her close, awkward. This borrowed father's arm, and lied. He's a piece.
Lil.
Wherever ghosts go. She nodded, small and shattered. What now? For us.
Us.
The word hooked deep. In Victor's life, family was transaction, and mine, it was absence. But here, staring at her, my sister, blood untainted, I saw a thread worth weaving. We rebuild, I said. Your way. College. Whatever. No strings. But strings snapped quick. That afternoon, a courier dropped Elena's bail papers, posted by some slimy associate of Victor's old firm. She called from a burner. Peyton, you bastard. I know it's you. Come see me. 1 hour. Or I sing to the press about the swap. The clinic. Victoria's web.
Click.
Heart hammering. I grabbed keys. Controversial decision numero uno. Face the viper. Or let her bite blind. The meat was a dive bar in Revere. Neon buzzing, clams and brews like a bad omen. Elena waited in a booth.
Makeup var painted.
Cigarette dangling like a fuse. Vic, Peyton, whatever the fuck you are. Her laugh was acid. Clever boy. But sloppy. Kraus? She squealed to Interpol after you wired the fee. They're coming. Lie or truth. Her eyes gleamed.
Cornered that sharp.
What do you want? I growled, sliding into the vinyl seat.
Out. Clean.
Half the inheritance. Wired now. And Lila stays with me. She leaned in, smoke curling like secrets. Victoria's game? I played it too. The abandonment? My idea, Victor was soft. Would have coddled you into weakness. The frame? We let you take it to build character.
But you.
You went too far. Killing him? That's on you.
Killing.
The word landed like a gut punch. In Victor's body, his memories flickered, ghost echoes in the synapses. The procedure. His terror as I overrode him. Had he felt it? Screamed silent as I claimed his throne. Nausea rose. Scotch souring. Half's not enough, I countered. Voice steady.
Confess.
The whole play. on video. To Voss. She smirked, pulling a thumb drive from her purse. Already done. Insurance. But add this. Walk away from Lila. She's mine, always was. Victor's infertility. Clinic mix-up. You're not blood. Another twist. Knife edge. DNA lied? Or more smoke. We dickered like used car salesmen. The bar's jukebox crooning Springsteen, Born to Run. Fitting dirge. Deal struck, 60-40 split. Her confession mailed. Me vanishing from her life. But as I left, her parting shot. You're Hargrove now.
Pay.
Wear it well, or it'll wear you down. Back home, Lila waited with pizza boxes and a borrowed laptop. Truce, she asked, olives scattered like peace offerings. We binged bad TV, True Detective reruns, irony thick, her head on my shoulder, trusting this stranger in Dad's skin. Sleep came uneasy. Dreams of waves swallowing the Bentley. Elena's laugh echoing underwater. Week 2, the money hit. 38 mil. Minus taxes and Voss's cut. A cool 29 in the trust. I funneled it smart. Anonymous donations to Walpole literacy programs. A scholarship fund for foster kids. Controversial?
Hell yeah.
Pouring dirty cash into good? Felt like laundering the soul. Lila picked Yale. Early decision. I wrote the check. No questions. But shadows lengthened. Echo pinged. Remap viable. Coordinates attached. Price your memories. Delete the swap. Wipe Victor's echoes. Become pure Peyton in a shell? Or keep the hybrid? Haunted but whole? Interpol whispers grew. Krause's leak. Elena's tip-off. A tail on the T. Suits in unmarked sedans. Time ticking. The real heat dropped with Lila's school break. She dragged me to a Pats game, Gillette Stadium. Tailgates roaring with foam fingers and face paint. Beers in hand. Crowd chanting. She confessed. I hacked your files.
Saw the swap logs.
You're a murderer.
Pay. No accusation.
Just fact. Her eyes searching mine. But you saved us. From Mom's crazy.
Saved?
Or damned. The halftime gun cracked like judgment. I pulled her close amid the roar. I did what ghosts do.
Lil.
Haunt till it's over. That night. Decision crystallized, no remap. Victor's ghost was mine now, lessons in loss. In love's sharp edges. Controversial as hell. Embrace the thief. Become the man. But Elena wouldn't fade. Her confession video arrived, damning, detailing the abandonment plot as Victoria's directive, the frame as necessary illusion. Voss authenticated. Charges dropped against her. Plea to misdemeanor. She walked. Texting. See you at the family reunion, winky face. Vengeance incomplete. Bile rising. Climax brewed in a boardroom downtown, Victor's old firm. Now mine by proxy. Partners circled. Vultures in Brooks Brothers. Demanding audit explanations. I took the head seat. Channeled the old man's bluster. We're pivoting. Ethical investments only. Dissenters? Doors that way. Walked half out. The rest bowed. Impressed or terrified. Power's aphrodisiac. Dark and addictive. Lila saw it first, the hardening. You're turning into him, she said over dim sum in Chinatown. Steam rising like accusations. The suits. The deals. Don't lose you.
Pay.
Her words pierced. A crack in the armor. That weekend, We drove to the Cape, Victor's summer cottage. Shingles salt-bleached. Dunes whispering secrets. Bonfire on the beach. Sparks dancing like fireflies. She grilled me. What if you swap back? Let me meet the real you. The question hung. Embers glowing. Real? Which version? The abandoned kid? Or the Avenger in stolen skin? As waves lapped, Elena's car crested the bluff, uninvited. Headlights slicing night. Family meeting, she called. Stepping out in white linen. Wind-whipped and unbowed. Lila tensed. I stood. Victor's frame casting long shadow. Elena descended the dune path like a queen reclaiming her court, heels sinking into sand, a bottle of Veuve Clicquot swinging from manicured fingers. Darlings. No police tape? Progress. Her smile was a blade. All teeth and no warmth. Lila crossed her arms. Bonfire light carving hollows under her eyes. Mom.
Not now.
But Elena waved it off, popping the cork with a flourish that sprayed foam like champagne tears. Nonsense. We're Hargroves. We toast to survival. I watched her. This woman who'd birthed me then buried me alive. Now toasting over Victor's pyre. The fire crackled, embers popping like suppressed gunfire. And I felt the pull, rage's undertow, dragging me under. Controversial urge. Shove her into the flames. Watch the silk ignite?
No.
That was Victor's ghost whispering. Peyton's hand stayed steady. Accepting the flute, she thrust forward. To ghosts, she said, clinking glasses. May they stay buried. We drank. The bubbles sharp on my tongue, Victor's tongue. Accustomed to finer poisons. Lila hovered. Wary. But Elena drew her in with stories. The Miami penthouse with ocean view infinity pools. The yacht parties where senators skinny dipped. Lies woven with truths. Nostalgia's net. Remember when we flew you down for that weekend?
Pay?
Before. Everything. The weekend. Bourbon haze. Forged checks. My unraveling. I nodded. Throat tight. How could I forget? She turned then, eyes locking on mine, mother to son, viper to prey. The video? A gift. But let's cut the bullshit. You think you won? Victoria's game was bigger. The swap? Her endgame, to force you into him. See if you'd crack. She sipped, casual as confiding recipes. And Lila? Blood or not? She's leverage. Walk away from the firm. The money. Or I tell her the rest.
The rest.
My pulse thrummed. Waves crashing counterpoint. Lila frowned. What rest? Elena's laugh tinkled. Glass shattering on the sand. Deliberate? Ask your brother. About the clinic. How Victor begged.
Pay.
Screamed in that Austrian snow as you erased him.
Fabrication?
Or echo truth. Krause's tech leaving psychic scars? Lila paled. Stepping back. Pay?
Deny?
Confess? The fire's heat mirrored my core. Boiling decisions. He lied to protect me, I said finally. Voice low. Sand shifting underfoot. The frame was mine. Drunk. Desperate. But the abandonment? That was you too. Playing God. Elena's facade cracked. Just a hair, guilt's fracture line. For your own good. Victoria demanded heirs of iron. Not glass. Lila bolted then. Up the path toward the cottage. Sobs swallowed by wind. Elena reached for me, motherly, almost tender. Fix this. Or lose her. I jerked away. Glass shattering in my grip. Shards biting palm. Blood welled. Victor's blood. Warm and accusing. You already took enough.
Get out.
She left at dawn. Taillights fading down the coast road like the Cadillac all those years ago. Lila emerged hollow-eyed, packing a duffel. I'm going to Aunt Clara's in Philly.
Space.
Don't follow. Her hug was brief. Brittle, sister to thief. The door clicked shut, leaving me in Victor's echo chamber. Empty rooms. Waves mocking solitude. Alone. The unraveling accelerated. Interpol's knock came midweek, 2 agents in off-rack suits. Badges flashing like bad karma. Mr. Hargrove? Questions about a Zurich procedure. Dr. Kraus named you. I lawyered up, Voss on speed dial, playing dumb. Golf injury rehab. Neural therapy. They leaned. Smelling blood. Body in Vienna matches your DNA. Overdose. Victor's DNA, mine now.
Tragique accident.
My firm handles the repatriation. They left unsatisfied. But the net tightened. Elena's whispers fueled it. Press leaks about Hargrove family implosion. Tabloids splashing. Tycoon dead in mystery swap. Lila ghosted. Texts unread. The firm fractured. Partners jumping ship. Stocks tanking on ethics scandals. I poured cash into damage control, PR spins. Anonymous buys, but it leaked like a sieve. Desperation bred darkness. Late nights. Victor's scotch flowing. I scoured the dark web for Kraus. Found her. Holed up in a Buenos Aires safe house. Peddling swaps to cartels. Pinged echo. Remap.
Now.
Reply. Risk 80%. Memories intact? Or wipe clean?
Wipe.
Start fresh in this shell.
No ghosts.
Price. 5 mil. Half the trust. The flight south was paranoia-fueled. Private jet. Fake passport in Victor's name. Buenos Aires hummed with tango rhythms and street sizzle. But I slunk through shadows. Hoodie over tailored slacks. Kraus met in a Malanga basement. Air thick with sweat and rose perfume. Peyton Hargrove, she purred. Accent curling like smoke. Or Victor. Ambition suits you. Her setup. Jury-rigged servers humming in the gloom. Electrodes dangling like nooses. As the drip hit, truths flooded, Victor's memories unspooling. The abandonment night. Elena sobbing in his arms. He'll hate us. His decision. Better hate than harm. Victoria's test. The frame discovery, me. Passed out amid incriminating docs, him. Forging the cover to teach resilience. Elena's affair. A decoy. Planted to rile me during tracking. And the swap? Victoria's voice on a burner. Let him take you. Become the man. Blackout. Woke to Kraus's lap. Failed. Partial transfer. Victor's core intact. You're fused now. Hybrid hell. Peyton's rage. Victor's remorse. Clashing like thunderheads. What now? I rasped. She shrugged. Run.
Interpolés en route.
I bolted. Streets blurring, tango dancers parting like Red Sea, hijacking a scooter. Weaving toward the airport. But the twist waited. Lila's text. Time-stamped hours old. Mom kidnapped me. Warehouse district. Help. Heart seized. Elena's play. Leverage ultimate. I rerouted. Ditching the jet for a battered taxi. Gunning through Pampa's heat. The warehouse loomed. Rusting silos under sodium lights. Air reeking of diesel and despair. Inside, Elena. Wild-eyed. Pistol trembling in grip. Lila bound to a chair. Duct tape muffling, please. You came, Elena breathed, gun wavering. Good. The money. All of it. Wire now, or she dies. Fused mind raced. Peyton's fire. Victor's calculation. Why? I demanded. Hands raised. Edging closer. Victoria's game ended. We're free. Her laugh cracked. Free? You stole my husband, my daughter, my life. Kraus, I hired her. The leak?
Me.
End it.
Pay.
Give it up. Lila's eyes pleaded, sister's bond. Unfrayable. Controversial calculus. Sacrifice the fortune for blood? Or call her bluff? Risk the shot? I lunged as thunder rolled outside. Gun barking wild. Bullet grazing arm. Hot sting. Tackled her. Elena's nails raking. Screams mingling with sirens wailing distant. Lila freed herself. Phone in hand. Cops incoming. I traced her.
Elena slumped.
Defeated. As blue lights flooded the yard. It's over, I whispered, cuffing her wrists with zip ties from a crate. But her eyes burned. Is it? Victoria's letter to me. If he takes Victor, kill the imposter. You're not him.
Pay.
Not anymore. Handcuffs clicked, hers, then mine, as Federals swarmed. Lila clung, sobbing. Don't let them take you too. But the hybrid cracked, Victor's voice in my head. Let go. Be Peyton. I nodded to Voss. Waiting in the chaos. Remap the body. Donate the rest. Climax shattered on that warehouse floor, truths spilling like blood. Elena's desperation. A mother's warped love. Victoria's machinations. A grandmother's cruel calculus. But the real controversy? Forgiving the unforgivable. As they dragged her away, I mouthed, I'm sorry for the swap, the pain, the stolen years. Dawn broke bloody over Buenos Aires, the sun gilding silos like fool's gold as the Federals sorted the wreckage. Elena in a squad car, spitting fire at shadows, Lila in an ambulance, checked for bruises but whole.
Me?
Interrogated in a fluorescent hellhole, coffee bitter as regret, spilling a sanitized tale, family feud gone nuclear. The swap, rumor. Body in Vienna?
Suicide.
Voss worked miracles from afar, bribes. Strings pulled via Victoria's old contacts, getting me extradited to Boston. Charges pending, but light. Back stateside. The penthouse felt vast, echoing with absences. Lila stayed in Philly with Aunt Clara, safe harbor. Her text's a lifeline. Miss you. BU. The firm? Liquidated. Assets folded into ethical funds, green energy startups. Foster advocacy, NGOs. Controversial windfall, the 38 mil seeded change. Not chains. Headlines spun it as Hargrove redemption, tabloids drooling over the body swap heir. But public fatigue set in quick. Americans love a villain's fall. But redemption? That's for Netflix. Kraus vanished, poof, into cartel mists, leaving the remap dream dust. Fused, I navigated Victor's world with Peyton's grit. Board meetings turned therapy sessions. Partners probed for Vic's edge. I leaned in. Raw. Edge is bullshit. Build real. Some bolted. Loyalists stayed. Forging a leaner beast. Hargrove Ventures 2.0. Backing underrepresented founders in Southie startups.
Elena?
Plea deal. Manslaughter intent. 5 years in a minimum security spa for white-collar witches. Visitation denied. But letters slipped through, penitent scrawls. I birthed a storm.
Pay.
Forgive the rain. Forgiveness? A daily duel. Some days. Yes, her warped love a mirror to my theft. Others? No, rage a live wire. Lila mediated. Weekend calls bridging chasms. She's sorry. Like you. The final twist uncoiled in Victoria's library. Months later, dust motes dancing in slanted light. The podium scarred from that fateful mic drop. I'd return for closure. Voss trailing with a lockbox. Her last gift. Inside, a neural drive. Krause's signature etched on casing. Remap complete, Voss explained. She commissioned it post-procedure. Victor's pattern intact. Insert.
And. Choice.
Heart thunder. Play it. Reclaim the shell, or stay fused. A better man? Lila arrived unannounced. Duffel slung. Yale deferral in hand. Decide with me. We sat cross-legged on Persian rugs. Drive glinting like Pandora's key. What if it's a trap? She whispered. Grandma's last laugh erase you both? Risks romance. I slotted it into a jury-rigged rig. Echo's final favor. Shipped discreet. Screen flickered. Initiate?
Y barra diagonal N.
Lila's hand on mine. You're enough.
Pay.
Ghosts and all.
E.
The hum built. Familiar whine, synapses firing. Identities colliding. Victor's voice. Clear, son. Let me go. Peyton's echo. We go together. Blackout. Velvet dark. Woke to birdsong. Not alarms. Peyton's walk up in Dorchester. Tea rumbling distant. Mirror, my face scrawny. Scarred. 27 forever. Victor? Gone. But echoes lingered. A steadier gaze. Broader shoulders in spirit. The money? Redirected fully. Trust dissolved. Funds to causes. Lila texted. Beach? Our beach. No mansion bluffs. Just public sand. Hot dogs from a cart. We met at Revere. Waves gentle now. Kites dancing skyward. She hugged fierce. Back. Remixed. I grinned. Elena's latest letter waited in my pocket unopened. Read it there. Salt-stung eyes. Live free. My boys. I did wrong. You did right. Forgiveness? Partial. Debatable ending. Heroes don't win clean. They scrape by. Scarred but standing. But the controversy? That's the hook. Was Victoria's savior or sadist? Puppeteering pain for growth? Elena monster or martyr? Breaking to build? Me? Thief or truth seeker? Swapping souls for solace? Readers argue in comments. Over beers, justice served. Or just another con. I walk the harbor now. Free but freighted. Wondering if revenge ever lightens the load, or just swaps it for heavier chains. The end?
Nah.
Hargroves don't end. We endure. And in the mirror, I see it. Not abandoned. Not avenged. Just alive. That's the real heist.